Okay, moving on to the next segment of today's show, I wanted to talk a little bit about the comments by former Atlanta Falcon wide receiver Roddy White about Trevor Lawrence and him possibly going to the New York Jets if the Jets do end up getting the number one overall pick in the 2020 NFL draft. And the exact quote from Roddy White was this: "If the Jets get the first pick, don't go. Just stay one more year in college." And that was Roddy White's advice for Trevor Lawrence. And as a Jet guy, here's all I got to say. Number one, Roddy White's got to shut his mouth. Because him saying this, whether it's true or not, that doesn't mean anything for him. And when I look at Trevor Lawrence, right, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Jet fan, I'm just saying this from, the overall truth and kindness of my heart. Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback prospect I've ever seen. At least since Andrew Luck. He is phenomenal. He's 6'5", he has a gun, he's mobile, he's athletic, he does it all. And I do think if there is anyone that could save this New York Jet team, it is Trevor Lawrence. And I think Trevor Lawrence views himself, or at least should view himself, as someone that is so talented and so capable of succeeding in this National Football League that it doesn't matter where he goes. He could do it. And I think when you look at Trevor Lawrence and him possibly going to New York, now, I don't know what exactly his personality is like and all that. I don't know, how he would really feel about playing in the Big Apple, whatever. But I definitely know if he were to come here, I would be confident in his ability to succeed. And when you look at where the New York Jets currently are, they are very far from that. I totally understand that. And you guys know, we haven't really spoke much New York Jets on this podcast so far because, to be honest, let's face it, there's been nothing to talk about. This team really screwed themselves when they fired their GM, Mike McCagnon, a couple months after he was in charge of the biggest offseason in your franchise's history. And to be honest, I think that's really where the Jets went downhill from. That, and also when you consider the fact that when the Jets fired Todd Bowles, I don't think the Jets should have brought Todd Bowles back for Sam Darnold's rookie year. So I'm saying after the 2017 season, so this is the 2018 season, if you remember, the Jets drafted Sam Darnold, and they were coming off 2 seasons where, I don't know about you guys, but to me, it was pretty evident that Todd Bowles wasn't a very good NFL coach after his 3rd season in New York. You give the guy 3 seasons, it wasn't cutting it, okay, no playoffs, whatever. And unfortunately for the Jets, Todd Bowles stays another year, and I think Sam Darnold, who made progress his rookie year, still has kind of had some trouble, readjusting to Adam Gase's offense. I say this all the time. One of the reasons why I like the future of the Miami Dolphins so much, right? And one of the reasons why I think they have a real ability to succeed within the next couple of years is because they have their quarterback and they have their head coach. And I think in order to win a Super Bowl, when your quarterback is on that rookie deal, because to be honest, that's a big thing here too, is that if you're the New York Jets or whoever gets Trevor Lawrence, you're going to want to win before you have to pay him, so you can make all of the positions around him better. And something crazy about the NFL is that consistently, even though we all say it's a quarterback league and you need a really good quarterback to win, and I'm not saying that's not true, but look at all of the quarterbacks recently that have won Super Bowls. Pat Mahomes, he did it when he was on a rookie contract. Tom Brady, we know what this guy would always do every offseason. Tom Brady would tell management, look, you don't have to pay me as much as I should. Just get the positions around me to be better. My first priority is winning. And that's when he won his Super Bowls. You remember the year before that, Nick Foles, a backup quarterback who really wasn't making much money. He wins it with Philadelphia. Brady wins it again the year before. Peyton Manning, who was like a back-end top 10 in terms of highest paid quarterback in 2015 when the Broncos won the Super Bowl. Yeah, he was making a decent amount, but he really wasn't the main reason why that Denver Bronco team ended up winning that Super Bowl. It was because of the Bronco defense. And I think when you look at Trevor Lawrence and the New York Jets, if the New York Jets could bring in just a head coach that knows what he's doing, that could potentially change everything. And I think it's a given right now. The one thing we know for sure as Jet fans is that Adam Gase is not the future, and that Adam Gase is going to be gone after this season. So once he's gone, I think this is how the Jets should approach this. The Jets need to find their heir apparent to Bill Belichick and Sean McVay or Sean Payton. Who is going to be the guy that you're going to pair with Trevor Lawrence to be, the Sean Payton to his Drew Brees, or the Bill Belichick to the Jets' Tom Brady? That's what the Jets should be trying to find right now. And even though, I'll say this, a lot of people say, oh, the New York Jets, they no matter who they have, they're never going to win. Well, I have two counter arguments to that. Number one, every team could win. The Chicago Cubs didn't win a World Series for 116 years, and then somehow, some way, a couple years ago, they end up winning a World Series. The same thing can be said about the Boston Red Sox. The curse of the Bambino. They haven't won in forever. It's like 107 years. They end up winning the World Series in 2004 with a couple championships after that. The San Francisco Giants didn't win a World Series for, many years. Somehow, some way, find a way to break a curse, and now they've won 3 in the last decade. So when you look at the New York Jets, they can win. This team has been to the AFC Championship game not too long ago. I know 2011 is, it sounds like forever ago and it seems like forever ago, but it really is not that long ago in the greater context of things. So I do think if you put Trevor Lawrence on the New York Jets with a good coach and a good, group of skill position players around him, I do think this New York Jet team could be good. And number two, I know it's hard to, buy this right now because the New York Jets, we all admit, they're not a very good football team. But what makes a star quarterback so good, and I do think Trevor Lawrence has the capability of being a star quarterback, is the ability to make others around him better. That is a big thing I really use to emphasize how I judge quarterbacks. And I think when you look at Trevor Lawrence, and if he's on the New York Jets, I don't think the quote-unquote rebuild is going to take as long as many people think if Trevor Lawrence is as good as we think. Because there have been plenty of examples before of young quarterbacks who step right in and right away are making other guys around him better. I think one guy, to be honest, that could really do that right now, that you could say is doing that right now, is Justin Herbert, the quarterback of the Los Angeles Chargers. He's been much better than I could have ever expected him to be so far to start the season, and he's making guys like Jalen Guyton into a real playmaker. Has anyone ever heard of Jalen Guyton? No, but now he's catching bombs for the Los Angeles Chargers. The New York Jets did draft a wide receiver in the draft this year, and he is actually set to make his NFL debut this Sunday. Denzel Mims, the rookie second-round pick from Baylor, his hamstrings forgot how to work, basically. He's been out all season with a hamstring injury, but he's finally set to make his NFL debut. Maybe he gives you something productive before the season ends. You just signed Brashad Perriman, who I think is an okay player. He's not a number one wide receiver, but he's a guy that can help you in the offense. I think the same thing could be said about Jamison Crowder. And one thing I'll say about the New York Jets is this. I think Joe Douglas kind of realized that when he got this job, it was going to take a long time. And he is still, in my opinion, fixing what Mike McCagnon broke. When it comes to hiring Adam Gase, when it comes to everything that happened on the defensive side of the ball with Jamal Adams and his contract situation, and Quinnen Williams, that pick, it so far doesn't really look like it's worked out yet. There is so many holes on this Jet team. Last year, they really did have probably the worst offensive line I've seen ever in football. The defense this year is just not good at all. So I think when you look at all of those factors combined, Joe Douglas kind of knew, all right, I was taking over a pretty bad situation, and it's going to take time to fix. Well, I'll say this. The one guy that could fix any, team's crap situation quickly is the quarterback. There have been plenty of examples, man. Russell Wilson, his rookie year, he was a second, third round pick, but he showed in practice that he had that, dog in him. He had that mojo potential. And all of a sudden, Russell Wilson that season was out here leading the Seattle Seahawks to a playoff berth. And I'm telling you, Trevor Lawrence could do that. If you watch him in college, he's that good. But the New York Jets need to remember it's what they do to surround him if he does come here, which is really going to determine how good his stay is. But people are saying Trevor Lawrence should pull an Eli Manning. I'm curious to you guys if you guys agree. And there are still plenty of people saying that Trevor Lawrence to the New York Jets would not work out. I just think it's impossible not to draft this guy. If he really does think that the New York Jets aren't a place for him and he doesn't want to be here, fine. But at the same time, it's not like the New York Jets could worry about that right now. They need to worry about who is going to be the best player if they do end up getting that number one pick. And they need to focus on finding a head coach because let's face it, everyone knew at the time when he was hired that Adam Gase wasn't going to work. He has done nothing in his NFL coaching career to get him one NFL head coaching job, let alone two. He will never be an NFL head coach again. He doesn't deserve to. It's an absolute joke that he got this job in the first place. So the New York Jets have to find their own version of Sean McVay or a Zach Taylor, who is still super unproven, but I really like some of the signals he's shown so far this season already with the Cincinnati Bengals. Like, no one knew who Sean McVay was before he was the head coach of the Rams. I think the same thing could be said about Joe Judge, who's the coach of the New York Giants. Has anyone ever heard of Joe Judge or who he was before this season? No. He was a special teams coach with the New England Patriots. But if he gives your chance if he gives your team the best chance to win, I do think sometimes that could be a guy that is willing to that is worth the risk to bring in. And when you're a team like the New York Jets, in order to win, you should be willing to do anything. So I don't care if it's a coach that I've heard of, never heard of. I don't care, whatever. At this point, it's so hard with expectations because a lot of people thought when the Jets hired Adam Gase, they should have hired Mike McCarthy. And look at how Mike McCarthy has been doing so far as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I think we could all agree that it's pretty clear Mike McCarthy is just not a very good head coach, and he was probably one of the main reasons why Aaron Rodgers only has one Super Bowl in his career. So it really doesn't matter to me who they hire. They just need to get rid of Adam Gase, bring in a new coach, bring in a new quarterback if they have the chance to get Trevor Lawrence, and we'll see how Sam Darnold does to end the season as well. He obviously has to get back on the field healthy. I think him just not really being able to stay healthy over the last couple of years, plus the poor playmakers around him and the poor coaching has really had an effect on why right now it doesn't look like his New York Jet tenure will be working out. But the New York Jets have to realize if you think it's the best move for your team long term to get rid of Sam Darnold, I think you have to do it. Just ask the Arizona Cardinals. I criticized them at the time for firing Steve Wilkes and getting rid of Josh Rosen after one season, but it ended up working out for them. So the New York Jets need to do whatever they can to consistently make their team better.